Glad to see we're all insulting cacophony today. Stupid creation that it is. Should probably click a button. Let's try that one. Hello! Hello! Happy Sunday, everybody. We are here once again with Pariahs, episode 22. Let's bring everyone in. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. That was fast.
Yeah. I just thought, today I'd just dive straight in. Why, do you want a bit longer?
No.
No? You sure?
I mean, I'm good. I'm ready to
First
go.
time a woman ever said no to fucking you on a bit longer.
Sometimes you got shit you gotta do.
I'm so confused.
Never mind.
Cypher, what happened last week?
Nothing of note.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nothing.
Let's get into today's episode.
Yeah. So I do believe like the first 2.5 hours were the great adventures of Vanya. Starting off at Coin Floor, she got to see the devastation that was the mess that the Mobistock Tory had made in town, including her newfound lover. And +1 to the ball now, apparently. Jacqueline. Her shop had taken the brunt of some damage as all her windows were blown in and our front door was smashed down. There's a joke there somewhere. But they flirted a bit, and apparently Jacqueline's now a +1 to the masquerade ball. I don't even know if Jacqueline knows it is the masquerade ball for the Crimson Core. I don't believe Vanya gave her that bit of information.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, we're going to a party. Oh God, where are we?
It's that blissful ignorance that Vanya has.
Yep. And then from making a partner for life to making an enemy for life off to the Merchants Guild, where there was a very disgruntled punter who was there for his money and left with less teeth than he went with. You don't fucking, gob off to members of the court.
Do we remember the name? Do you remember the name?
I don't remember his full name because
Reginald Wilberforce Silverbottom III.
He shall return.
Absolutely.
And Vanya shall call him Reggie to piss him off even further.
Listen, Reggie Poo, stop it. So yeah, she went to the Merchant Guild just to charter a boat at first, and instead they were like, "Yeah, why don't you just fucking go ask the wardens for a lift at the fucking war docks?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, I should probably just do that." Yeah. Well, actually, they were like, "Why don't you just fucking use the special way that?" You know what? Never mind. We're not supposed to know about that. Don't worry about it. Forget I said anything. But yeah, then our favorite pirate made a cameo appearance, which is good times. Before she got a lift over to the Sanguine Academy, and then the Harry Potter music started playing. I mean, it was good times. She learned that she could have just teleported there. If only she'd have been told about the teleportation rings in every guardhouse in the city.
She knows.
Never
now.
mind. Yeah, now you know. It's good times. But she got the lay of the land, so what people were doing was like, okay, weird. Best get sorted into my Harry Potter house. I'm definitely a Hufflepuff.
It tracks. Education, learning.
It's good times.
Deception.
And then from something totally wholesome to Dorian. As Dorian was like, "Oh, I better answer that letter that I got from my host's father. Let's just pop in and see how they're doing." I totally don't have an ulterior motive to this. And he did. He popped in, and I'm pretty sure he just sat there and antagonized them with his newborn status for his own goods. Just to rile them up good and then be like, hey, you hate me that much? Just write me out the will. Just write me out the will. We could do it right here, right now, with this very specific quill that definitely won't fuck you over. But it did. Because, Dorian's like that sometimes, And turns out he got written into the entire will, and then was like, "Come with me, sister, we shall stab father." And not that you have a choice, I'm vastly stronger than you. Let's put on a bloody good show. As he stabbed his father to death, and then blamed his sister, and then subsequently the guard that tried to attack him. And I'm pretty sure they're decorating a gatehouse somewhere roundabout now.
Yeah.
I think it worked out the best it could have for everyone.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah. Well,
For everyone?
Sure.
for me, and honestly, they're irrelevant.
Some of you may die, but I really don't care.
But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what Dorian got up to. Sci-fi and Garrett were like, you know what's better than loads of money? A shit ton of money. Let's go make a shit ton of fucking money. Got to spend a little bit to make it, but with their insider knowledge of what's to come, can't make ships without wood. So why not corner the market on all of the wood?
Fancy that.
Fancy that. Fuck 'em. So after the Stillborn Forest do it, I had a chat with a very lovely newly promoted foreman, I guess.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure she drooled on herself at one point because Garrett was just pulling out gold coins like they were fucking Skittles. And I don't think she'd ever seen gold coins before that point in her entire life.
No.
She probably thought they were fucking myth. Now knows different. So her business was bought and newly branded. The Blackthorn Lugging Company is in established. We dropped off some spending money to say expand the business and get a nice little stockpile for the inevitable huge order of lumber.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what everybody apart from Teresa got up to last week.
So, with that said, thank you. With that said, though, Reza is back today. Huzzah! Welcome back, Reza.
Yay!
And we didn't give a reason why you were absent. Thought we'd leave that to you. If there's anything you wish to say, you're more than welcome to.
Sure. Well, you see, chat. Nah,
She didn't want to play with us.
yeah, no, I didn't want to play with them anymore. It was just like, then they gave me a lot of free coffee over the intervening week. I'm like, okay, I'll come back. But the real reason that Callie was not here is because Callie got married on Valentine's Day.
Congratulations!
So come on, girl. We were having a small staycation honeymoon. I gotta tell you. Okay, chat. Wagyu beef steaks.
Spoiled it for you forever.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Oh.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, but again, congratulations, Kelly.
Thank
We're
you,
all
thank
over the
you.
moon for you. Chuffed to bits. Now, the selfish part of us, we're glad you're back.
Yeah.
You were
Apparently,
missed.
I'm the only one who can shut Vanya up. Apparently. I love you, Jeb.
As long as you have those pastries.
Yup. We have a very symbiotic relationship in RP.
It is. It's beautiful. Okay, so with that said, I guess we'll dive straight into today's episode. With the lumberyard now under the control of the Shadowed Circle, the Hestwood estate in its entirety now under the iron grasp of Dorian, and Vanya starting to seep her influence into the Sanguine Academy. It just leaves Reza, really, to what's she been up to in the last week or so in the downtime since handing off the break cat in case of emergency and the family reunion there.
Well, I will say that before Garrett headed out to the lumber mill, Reza needed to approach him with a financial question.
Okay. So, with that said then, deep below the Baron's Folly in the confines of the Undercroft and the Thorn Room, during this week's worth of downtime, the long rest, Reza, you stroll into the Thorn Room. At this point, Garrett, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but would no doubt be continuing to prep the finest court's reserve for the upcoming ball.
Oh yeah, there's crates of it just stacked everywhere at the moment.
Floor to ceiling, leaving almost a gap from the door wide enough for you to squeeze in before it opens out into a little bit of a wider area. But yeah, there's barrels upon barrels of the court's reserve stacked across the Thorn Room.
So Reza just kind of wedges her way in the door, because I'm guessing the door can't open all the way at this point.
Yeah,
She kind of wedges herself in, and it's just like climbing over barrels.
Yeah,
Garrett!
The odd route would come down from Elias to just lift a barrel out of your way temporarily and then put it back down as you pass by.
Hello.
Garrett, are you in here?
I'll be there in 1 sec.
Okay.
And from behind a shitload of boxes and barrels, Garrett appears.
Ah, perfect. I need all of the copper that we have.
Yeah, it's the first time anyone's ever asked for copper.
You're welcome.
Elias, could you bring out the petty cash?
There's a brief moment of silence, and then you begin to hear what can only be described as the great rumbling. The branches and roots at the side of the room begin to quiver, quake. Bits of dirt, the odd stone, small pebble drops from the ceiling as you begin to see this great void open up at the top of the room as several roots stretch down with what can only be described as several Santa's sacks. Just these giant linen sacks, easily 3 foot by 3 foot in size, and just with a heavy the thud and the jangle of change, 6 of these sacks are just dropped into the center of the room. Thousands upon thousands of copper coins in each one.
Okay, so maybe not all copper.
Now, old me would ask what you want the copper for. But I think I'll just wait for the surprise.
Okay, well, I mean, it's not really that crazy. I had an idea. And, it needs a lot of copper. So, yeah.
Cool.
It would be at this moment where this conversation going on, you would just hear a familiar magical energies wash over the room as the portal opens up. Stepping out of the portal is the decrepit form of the coroner. He just looks at you, Reza, looks at you, Garrett.
Galleon.
Turns away, begins to shuffle past the various boxes. With the portal still remaining open, you begin to see a trail of books, of tomes, of other odds and ends, animated, floating in midair, just train behind him from out of the portal. And as the coroner pushes past the occasional barrel back through the throne room door into the undercroft and then down towards the private sanctum, this train of magical items and books continues for about another 60 seconds before eventually the portal closes.
Checking in.
You just hear in the background.
More things need to bring later. These will suffice for now.
Oh, Cypher's going to have a lot of fun with this.
At least we'd have to carry it.
True. But anyway, so yeah, I need a lot of copper. I'll be in and out for a few days. Also, we might have some additional workforce by the time I'm done. So I hope you've got something to put them to work with.
There's always work to be done, and just make sure it's things we can trust.
I'll see what I can do.
Marvelous.
Right. So she waits for enough time that she won't run into the coroner when she leaves the room. And then she heads out to find Falco.
All right. Making your way upstairs, back into the folly. What sort of time would this be? Midday-ish, or?
Before the tavern opens.
Okay. So, with that said then, you step into an empty Baron's Folly, apart from Julian and Lyella, who are restocking shelves from a wagon out the back alley. Francis in the kitchen brewing up whatever weird concoction of soup there is for the day. Falco himself, though, is sat not at his desk, but just by the fire at the moment, feeding it a few logs, a few of the old books, before he turns towards you and offers you a brief nodding greeting. Alright. Morning, boss.
Morning. How is everything going with all of the businesses, Falco? I feel like it's been a little while since we really had a check-in.
It's going all right. Yes. Can you not tell by the lines on my forehead at the side of my eyes how my jowls are now starting to fucking droop because of how overworked and tired I am? I never thought I'd be a master of an empire, but holy fucking shite that you have brought down. But no, it's look here. Falco walks up to the table, flips open one of the books and spins it in your direction. Begins to point down that basically every shipment of alcohol has been accounted for. Ordering's on point. There's no problems there. In fact, it seems that just glancing over this book, the coin for the folly has been steadily increasing. From things such as gambling games that have been going on in the back, bets, all under Falco's watch. The business itself's running smoothly. As for...
Well,
oops, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
As for the staff, it seems that the forces, or the individuals at the beck and call of the folly has grown quite exponentially, to the point where, glancing over another book with names, locations, you get the impression that if not every gang in the slums is under your control, that at least most of them are by now, or at least you have some way in or some blackmail material to make sure that everyone does as you all say.
Well, it's very fucking impressive, Falco.
Well, most of it just tends to fall into my lap. I mean, this place has turned into a bit of a listening post, if I dare say so. Half of the people who turn up here drink, get drunk, merchants, they're always fucking boastful. There's been the odd, how can I put it, upper class from outside the district who have decided to step in after hearing that this place is due to downstairs. They've been once or twice downstairs and then turned this into their regular drinking hole. So I've got a few other leads, information, bits and pieces on shit further in the city. Who'd have thought? And I shit you not, right? Those who come from out of town, like beyond the walls, they spend fucking coin like you would never believe.
How is Lyella handling all this extra business? Do you think she could use a few extra servers to help her?
Oh, don't. Shh, she's already paid fucking both her and Julian. They're dripping in cash. Dripping by now.
Well, right, but do they need more people to keep up with the traffic in here? Or... No. Actually, that is the prime thing, is the lads on the door. They keep most of the riffraff out. Have you not seen some of the odd queues that have been outside? Lining up to get in here. Been a little busy. And so she's thinking, so you're saying the Baron's Folly is an upper class joint now?
I'm saying that it's a lower class joint, but those in the upper class think it's like some sort of fucking outing for them, you know, a taste of the lower class where they can feel safe.
How odd.
Oh, I know, it's crazy, but I mean, you know, it's started implementing a bit of a, at least for some of those in finer clothing, like, look, you can't step in unless you pay the entrance fee, and, well, they've been paying it. They've been chucking 5-10 silver a go just to get inside.
Paying money to come in here?
Falco just grins and nods.
Fucking hell. Right, okay, so things are great. You don't need anything from me?
I mean, I wouldn't mind a vacation or, you know, a holiday, perhaps. Get someone else in to, while I piss off and... Please?
You want an assistant?
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Right, so... Last task for you, before you go on vacation... Hire yourself a fucking assistant. I'll look around today. Do you see any of the boys at the door?
Yeah. Leave that to me, and I'm sure that one or two will be more than capable of handling the tasks set out now, because, you know, they've been around a while.
Okay, well, good job.
Yeah, well, it's not all me, but I'll fucking take credit for it. Thank you. Yeah, just some time to spend all of this coin that's jingling in my pocket would be nice.
Right. Any choice rumours of bits coming in lately?
In here... I mean, apart from the fucking lingering smell of death wafting over the canal from Polter... Nothing really that demands your attention, no.
Lingering smell of death from Polter?
Well, yeah, when you set fire to a fucking entire district, that smell don't go away for a while.
Oh, right. Sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah, you know, burnt flesh, old blood, I'd hate to be closer to the Polter district. I mean, some of the taverns there, their fucking furniture must absolutely reek.
Yes. Interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Righto, okay, well, keep up the good work, I guess. I'm gonna go, see how Lower Streets and Market Row are doing. Unless you've already taken care of that, and I'm absolutely useless.
No, that's on you. I am the king of this here fucking castle at the minute. I know nothing outside of these four walls.
Right, lovely. Okay, well,
Or should I say, nothing's been brought to my attention that could be a problem outside of these four walls.
Right, and she awkwardly pats him on the shoulder.
Really? After everything, I've seen you fucking naked.
Do you have to say it that loud?
I just don't.
And
Go on.
She leans in and just gives him a peck on the cheek.
All right. I'll take it. Good luck on whatever it is you're doing with the. He clears his throat. The riffraff out there. No, I can't pull off the posh thing.
No, please don't ever try and do that again.
Yeah,
that's really weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just don't ever do it again.
He offers you a brief wave of the hand, giving you a chance to get out of dodge.
And she gets out.
So, with that said, into the familiar winding streets of Lower Streets and Market Row.
Mm-hmm.
What are you up
with
to?
With a butt-fuck ton of copper in her pockets. So, here's what Rez is thinking. She's thinking... The area they live in is called the slums.
Mm-hmm.
And from what Falco was saying, it sounds like it's kind of become a destination for the wealthy.
Not the wealthiest, but get the impression more. Think of it more as well-to-do merchants. Those from, for example, Coinflow or the Commons, who want to experience the rough and who want the thrill of the rough and tumble life outside of the city, amongst the criminals of the city, but in an environment that's they're looked after.
The middle classes.
The middle classes, yeah.
So she's kind of mulling that over in her head as she kind of heads out on her normal walkabout in Market Row and Lower Streets. Like from time to time, I'd say like every 3 days or so, she just like walks around, gets the vibe for what's going on, listens for rumors. Today, she's also keeping an eye out for like beggars, people who appear to be homeless, new faces she might not have seen before who are trying to like set up shop in the city. Trying to get a vibe of like, has anything changed since the events of a few days ago? So that's what's on the agenda for her walkabout today.
The answer to that question is yes. But
all
of the above. Roll me a perception check, if you will be so kind.
That's gonna be bad, chat.
A 13 is solid. And I'm also going to ask for an investigation check, please, Reza.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
A 15. Okay. And last
that one has a +2.
Let's go. And then last but not least, I'm also going to ask for an insight check, please.
No modifier on this one, chat.
Nice. So, on your journey through Lower Streets, Market Row, with regards to the insight check, just the general vibe of the slums at the moment, there seems to be quite almost a heavy atmosphere, that of suspense or waiting, like a storm that's just brewing. Everyone who knows who you are, Reza, will cast glances in your direction, giving you the impression that at this moment in time, everyone in Lower Street seems to be analyzing or just waiting to see what you, maybe not you as personally, but you as the Shadow Guard do. Every move you now make has ripples through the slum districts. And I dare say the impression you would get is people are looking at you with a questioning gaze of, are you protectors? Tyrants, another force of destruction waiting for the right moment to strike again. And this is a new sensation ever since Dirktown was decimated. There is basically, in a nutshell, a sense of unease in the air.
Okay. I had a feeling. So Reza is going to approach one of the first groups of people she sees that are kind of like side-eyeing her and strike up a conversation.
Okay. Is this in Lower Streets or Market Road? Doesn't really matter, I guess.
Doesn't really matter, yeah.
Let's say Market Row, you see a beggar, an oldish gentleman, quite withered, pale, obviously malnourished. A brown, tattered robe covers most of his form, but there is around his neck a piece of string with what looks to be 2 small bones in the shape of a cross. With pale eyes, cataracts perhaps setting in, he just looks in your direction. As you get closer, begins to make out the form and offers you a brief nod, holding a hand out.
Alms for the poor!
She approaches and, like, crouches down directly in front of him and, kind of cups his outstretched hand in one of hers and then reaches into her bag of holding and puts probably 15 copper pieces in his hand.
He closes his fingers over the coins and...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The sister said that aid would come.
He puts a shaky hand on top of yours and offers a brief nod in thanks.
Thank you for your generosity.
Of course, Grandfather. You're talking about the Sisters of the, Rose Cross?
Yeah, I believe that's what they are called. There's been a few out selling these.
And he cups a hand to this bone charm of a cross around his neck.
There's a deep-seated darkness elsewhere, and I've been offering little charms of protection. They gifted this to me, as well as a loaf of bread.
I see. As Rez is looking at the cross, does it strike her that there's anything arcane about this, or is it just like they had an arts and crafts hour and they're giving them out?
It's arts and crafts hour.
Okay.
It's 2 small bones with a bit of twine wrapped around to keep them in a cross shape, and then again the twine to add as a loop as a necklace. With that perception roll, though, you would also notice that if you glance around, this old man's not the only person wearing them. There seems to be quite a few individuals walking by that you see. Now, not all of them are bones. Some may be old nails in the shape of a cross or pieces of branches, but all bearing this twine necklace with a cross of some sort around their neck.
Interesting. What brings you here to the streets, Grandfather? What's keeping you from having a roof over your head and a warm place to sleep?
I started to relocate from up north, Polter. Quite a few of my friends, associates maybe, have also done the same. It's the ghosts. The ghosts. We couldn't bear to hear them anymore. Many were getting frightened, so we've begun moving away from Polter and the Dirktown area.
Yeah, it's horrible what happened up there.
It's the whispers are the worst.
The whispers?
The old man nods.
Others have said that they've seen shadows moving in the alleys, or perhaps some have said they've seen strange lights or movement in the burnt-out husks over the canal, but for me, With my eyesight not being the best, it's the whispers. Can't make out the words, but it just sounds like voices in the dark, or at least they were until I...
And he reaches a hand back towards the cross.
Until I was offered this.
Well, it's a good thing you have it then. Hopefully it continues to keep the whispers at bay for you.
The old man nods, tucking the 15 or so copper coins beneath the robe into his underwear.
She looks at him for a moment or so, and then she says, I can assure you that we of the Folly will never let something like what happened up there happen here. You are all under our protection.
You're I've heard that the Folly and Shadow God are the ones protecting this place, so thank you. Thank you for your generous donation.
Of course. You have friends on the streets, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, Big Jim stops by every now and again. Well, he's not so big anymore, but you still call him Big Jim.
And what's your name, Grandfather?
Jamira was my name. I didn't really get her last name. My old man was, labourer for many years.
Stone. Your last name will be Stone. Because you haven't been worn down by life. You're hard as a stone.
I feel personally attacked. The old man slowly starts to nod.
Yes, that's a solid name, a strong name. Yeah, I love it.
Wonderful. And, Jamira Stone, whenever you talk to your friends, will you spread the word that the Shadow God protects?
Of course, yeah.
And that we have work for those who want it.
Even
Maybe
for an
don't-
old blind man such as I.
I'm sure we could figure something out. Did you know that our bartender at the Folly is blind? There's plenty of things a blind man can do.
The old beggar's jaw drops at this revelation as he begins to nod rapidly. Life almost restored to him in a sense.
Yes, that's... Well, I... Thank you. Thank you.
In fact, Jamira, I'm going to offer you a job right now.
Oh?
Yes, you know those the crazy toffs in Coinflow and how they're all into like weird things.
I've heard
Well.
stories, yes.
Well, we've had some of them coming down here to get themselves like a taste of the slums, so to speak.
Where's
How
this
would
going?
you like? Oh, you're gonna love it. I'm stealing your NPC again.
Okay, go on.
How would you like to have the cushiest begging spot in the courtyard outside the folly to give our up-city patrons the true flavour of the slums. 15 copper a day to sit on a cushy cushion and beg. And free meals. And if you want to sleep in our bunkhouse, you're free to do that.
He grasps out for your hand. Tears begin to stream from his old eyes as he just nods. Can't seem to get a word out. Just like, that would be, yes, absolutely.
Right, come on then. And she kind of picks him up by the arm and escorts him back to the folly and lets Falco know she's hired him to be their resident beggar.
All right. So whilst you're doing that, the other thing with that perception check, Reza, there would be 3 other things that you would kind of pick up on during your time out in Lower Streets and Market Row. One would be just overhearing a conversation of something along the lines of, no one's fixing Dirktown, but I've heard talks of building something about Shadow God and making something, or supposedly might be making something out of the rubble, something big, and trust me, it ain't for everyone's good but theirs, I guarantee it. You don't see exactly who says this, but it's just one of the conversations, one of the voices that floats into your ear as you're moving through the streets. Another one would be, some say that there was something in the fire itself in Dirktown, a woman draped in black smoke watching from the heart of the blaze. If only for a moment, maybe it caused the fire, or maybe it's still there, waiting for anyone who gets too close, and that's why Dirktown's now off limits. Another rumour that you would overhear would be making your way back towards the folly.
I heard it from a drunk who swore on his last breath, right? Supposedly, one of the court cut a deal with the old guard, the shadowy folks, cut a deal that'd get him torn apart by other members of the court if anyone found out. Maybe Dirktown's fall wasn't a destruction after all. No, maybe it was a sacrifice, huh?
It's followed by just people like, get on you fucking idiot, you drunk, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. But those would be the 3 other vibes, rumours that you would hear out on the streets in Market Row and Lower Streets.
Okay. So after she gets Jeremiah settled in at the folly, she is going to go back down to her rooms, and there's a thing I'm going to do.
Fucking Jeremiah Stone, god damn it. Let me make this guy a fucking NPC now. There we go.
She's going to cast Disguise Self.
Okay.
And she's going to look like an old beggar woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to exit out the back door and then just start kind of like hobbling around the streets until she finds a group of people who are passing out rumors.
Roll me an investigation check.
Okay.
So, spending a fair amount of time working your way through the labyrinthine streets of the district, there doesn't seem to be anyone who is spreading these rumors. It all appears to be hearsay. I heard it from a friend, or some drunk at a bar, or someone from somewhere said. And while some of the details may be very close to the truth, it's always embellished with some crazy detail. But with a roll of 16, I will say that whilst you can't find an individual or a group who seem to be spreading the rumors, what's being said certainly someone from up high may know about. Give me the impression that, you know, perhaps these rumors were fed from out of district.
Reza's going to start spreading one of her own.
Okay.
So she's, I forget the name of the people who run it, but there's like kind of like a cafeteria, like food place run by like a cranky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old elven lady, Cider's Kitchen.
Yeah. So she's going to head there and see if it's like up and running and if there are people there.
Okay. Holy shit. That's
Callback.
a definite callback. I need to try and... we've not seen Cider since we moved to this version of Foundry, so you're going to have to give me a moment.
Okay. I will just continue to munch on this delightful peach cobbler.
Please do. Oh man, do I even have her portrait? I know what she looks like. Right, hold.
Is there not a picture in the journal?
That journal is...
No, it's not there.
Is no longer
it
part
got
of...
nuked when we updated, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yep. You all know
That's
who
what
she
I
looks
was-
like.
Yeah, I was looking for it and I couldn't find it.
Bear with me. Okay. Describe to me how you're swanning through the streets on the way here while I look for this.
So she's just kind of like meandering, muttering to herself like a crazy old lady would. And then when she gets into the Cider's place, she's just kind of like... She doesn't even go and get food. She looks for the most populated table and just kind of sits down and listens to what they're talking about.
It's not the one, but it's close enough. Stepping into Cider's kitchen. Cider herself is a relatively old elven lady. Her temperament has always been rough in the time you've spent here. There's very much a attitude of no nonsense about her. Anyone who causes the slightest bit of trouble typically gets whatever gruel or soup's been served for the day emptied on their head and then tossed out by other members of other customers, rather. But stepping in, she eyes the form of this old woman, and Cider will arch a brow, look around the small confines of this kitchen area, and there's a seat over there, third table in. Make yourself at home. I will bring you some food shortly.
Thank you, missus. Thank you.
Come at the right time, it would seem. Between the hours of 7 and 12. Breakfast or lunch is free, so it's not much, granted. But at least there is meat in it now.
Better than not.
You...
Go.
What's going on?
I just said she's gonna go sit down.
At this point, you would see that Cider's kitchen is pretty busy. There's a multitude of not only homeless or at least less wealthy individuals here. There would also be other merchants and vendors, store vendors from Market Row who have also taking the opportunity to have a free meal. But this is something Side has been doing in perpetuity, and since the Folly has taken over Market Row, and she has a steady supply of, well, it's not high quality food, but at least for her a supply of free food. She continues offering this service to the inhabitants of Market Row and Lower Streets.
Nice. So Reza is going to be in her old lady form, and she's going to sit down at the table and kind of ingratiate herself into whatever kind of conversation is happening. And she's going to say, oh that's lovely having the free food. Better than anything I ever had in Dirktown, I'll tell you that. You know, fucking Doctor E started accompanying, you know, it was awful.
There's a gentleman sat at the table just to your side, a merchant of Market Row. He looks over towards you, Reza. He's like, shh, quiet down about the old Dirktown incident.
What? Why?
That's simple. It's not something that we typically... you said you're from Dirktown?
Yeah, up to a few weeks back, yeah.
The merchant grabs his bowl of soup and slides over to your table, Reza. Then I would heavily advise that you keep that to yourself, old love. Few of the individuals going around are hunting down some of the remnants of Dirktown. One of the rumours, supposedly, is that Dirktown and the Doctore that were there have been infecting people, turning them, brainwashing them. So anyone who says they're from Dirktown, and he just begins to draw a thumb across his throat.
It's fucking horrible, shall I tell you? They was giving us the plague and experimenting on us like a bunch of fucking cattle. That's why it all got burnt down, to stop it from spreading.
Really? And what, it wasn't anything to do with go on, tell me more. What sort of things were they doing there?
Well, I didn't hear it direct from Jesus. Well, no, wait, there's no Jesus here. Direct from, somewhat himself. But my cousin Martha's brother's first wife's son said that he saw somewhat having plague in the street, and that's when they all got upwind of it. And that's why Dirktown had to go, because you know how them plagues do, right? How they just, one look at a person in a place like this, everybody's got it. So they did it to protect the city, don't you know?
Who, they as in the wardens, the court? Why would do they really care about us out here? But I mean, it makes sense, I guess. If they were spreading the plague there, then...
Well, they make all their money off our backs, don't they?
You can say that again, yes.
And what's worse, Martha's... No, wait. Is it Tommy? Tommy says that he heard that them Barracks people was the ones who gave him the plague.
Barak
Wasn't
Empire.
that the war? Yeah, them's the one. But you ain't heard nothing from me. No.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage, please, Reza. Because it's a pretty compelling argument, I'm not going to lie. Compelling indeed. The merchant leans back in his chair, scratches the stubble on his chin before starting to slowly nod. Well, that certainly makes a lot more sense than what others were saying about leveling the place to...
Yeah,
Yes.
why would you burn a chunk of your city out that's making you money?
Exactly. The court
If
wouldn't
we
do
wa-
that. It'd be
What?
stupid.
It's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's got to be something like that. I mean, it has a ring of truth to it, don't it?
That it does. That it does. At this, Reza, you would notice that several other people inside this kitchen have also turned round to listen in on this conversation, and all of them are also like, yes, it makes perfect sense, nodding away in the background.
So I know all them uppity peoples, they can be real mean. Oh, when I was younger, I worked as a maid of all work for one of them rich. Oh, it was awful. But they needs us. So something must have been rotten in Dirktown.
Absolutely. Talking about rotten, what is that? And just from behind, you just hear this voice, just other woman just going. Those who are listening into the conversation immediately shoot up from the table. Accusatory fingers are pointed. Plague! Plague!
Fuck's sake.
Come off it. That's all been burnt out.
Yes, it's this old woman who's coughing in the back. Like, no, I'm all right. Honestly, it's just I believe there was a piece of bone in the soup. I'm all right.
Yeah. I'll prove it. She don't have the boobos. So, and Reza will go over and like tear this woman's clothing open and show that she doesn't have any other signs of plague on her.
You just hear oh.
See this? You got real nice skin there. How'd you do that in all this mist? Do you bathe?
As this conversation goes on, you easily manage to convince everyone that she isn't a plague carrier, but this story will certainly start to feed through the merchants of Market Row, and obviously the sheer amount of traffic Market Row has, it won't take long for your version of the truth to disseminate amongst the other rumours.
Perfect. So she eats her free meal.
Yeah.
And then before the hour is up of her disguise self, she departs. Gives the merchant a slap on the back, says, it was nice to speak to you, young man. You got a good head on your shoulders.
Yes, thank you. And he's already shoveling down his soup to try and get out to pass this tidbit of information to the other stall vendors.
Yeah, and with that, I think Reza's kind of thinking to herself, job's done.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, you make your way back into Market Row, lower streets, back towards the Baron's Folly. And with that said, Initiativa, I believe. I may have butchered that. I'm sorry if I did, but thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Welcome to the madness. And secondly, I think that's probably a good time for us to call a quick refill of clock there.
Yeah, I need a read.
Welcome back, Reza.
Thank you very much.
Right. With that said, then let's quickly grab a drink. Rayvon, put your bits away. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, we will be but a moment, folks, while we grab a refill on the drinks. Because my rum, I didn't put enough in the glass, so I need a bit more.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. You're right there, Jum.
Working on my deep voice.
Deep and brooding, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm like raspy now. You get a drink of water.
That's my Monday after a weekend of D&D. I wake up like, oh, I can't speak anymore. Because of all the stupid voices that I put on.
Does your throat hurt?
Not so much hurt. You know, again, the years of doing this now, it's I dare say I've probably scarred it enough.
I was a little hoarse this morning, I have to admit.
Yes, with your little robot voice yesterday. Good day, sir! Alright. Rayvon, you'd rather toss me some bits than fill this bin of balls. I mean, that is fair. That is fair. I appreciate it, though. Thank you. Alright. So, with Reza out and about, Dorian, your events with your family, whatever damage you incurred, you can heal that back up, because it's been a week of downtime.
The potion that the guards gave me took care of that.
You're right. I forgot about the potion.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, the absurdly effective healing potion.
Yeah. So you go on, Reza?
I get my spell slot back, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So basically, any spells used for RP during this week's worth of long rest downtime, you can use them for free.
They're known as meme spells.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we are in a week of downtime. So, with that said, then, is there anything else anybody wishes to bring forth to the table now that you've had a week to think about things, or is anything else you wish to do, having returned to the folly?
Nothing specific, just like I imagine she goes out multiple times during the course of the downtime. And she just like spreads the word that like if you need work, come to the folly. We've probably got something for you. That kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Got a lovely lumber camp and needs a load of work.
Yes, that's the other thing now is since the purchase of the lumber camp, people do turn up for work. Falco's informed that labourers are needed, and those who are a little more sturdy, a little stronger, are basically put to work in the Blackthorn Logging Co. lumber mill. And it doesn't take long. Within the first couple of days, there is already a field full of felled logs ready to be processed.
Beautiful.
So, in that case then, anything anybody else wishes to do?
Well, Vanya.
No,
I mean, she can go last, but Vanya would have spent her time learning a spell.
Ooh, you've been for the last few days over at the Sanguine Academy, at the Arcanists Guild. So, at the northern edge of the city, on an island that juts off into the cruel and unforgiving seas, Vanya, you've been... you said you were going to be spending a few days here, is that right?
Yes, she did.
So, on top of learning a spell, I'm sure there's been some other things that you've been doing whilst you're here.
You know, she got the tour. She of course spread some inspiration, but was mostly networking and trying to find maybe some interesting stores that may have some items that she might be interested in, whether it be like unique magical items or potions
let's find out, shall we? So let's tackle the first thing first, is networking. You've had a few days here. Roll me a persuasion check, please. So, you were given not so much an orderly, but a guide. A sanguine mage by the name of Zabaris. After the first day, you were shown to a room above one of the various stalls out in the streets of the Sanguine Academy. And you got speaking to him. This is the first, perhaps, friend or acquaintance that you've managed to connect with in the Sanguine Academy. How did that go? How did that start?
Well, of course, he was kind of required to hang in the beginning. You know, that's how it all starts with Vanya. No one really wants to, but then, you know, once they get there and are inspired by Vanya, things kind of change. You know, they take a liking to her.
So what you're trying to tell me is, through a positive mind frame, that one can become better?
Oh, of course. You simply stop all of your negative thoughts and focus on your desires, and you're happier, and you spread hope. You no longer talk about the bad things to others. You talk about, you know, the program and the steps that you go through.
So, for example, if I wished to be part of the ruling inner circle of the Sanguine Academy, rather than thinking, it would be difficult to get there, I should think that, yes, I will become one of the inner circle.
Yes, and you start thinking that way, and you start feeling that way, and you're basically there.
You said you needed a grimoire of some sort. I believe this is the one you requested.
And with that, he slides this book onto... so, in fact, Vanya, just describe to us what your little room... you would only have access to a room in Coinflow... in Coinflow, in the Sanguine Academy. In the day or so that you've been here, would there be any special way that you've managed to decorate it? You would only be issued a really shitty, rickety old bed that's, rather than a mattress, just has straw and a linen covering over the top, and then maybe a single dilapidated wooden cupboard to hang clothes, and a small table with a stool to do any work.
Well, so you would see that she's changed the bedding and the curtains to something a little bit more luxurious and vibrant. But you're also going to see stacks and stacks of books that she has checked out, and they're just like everywhere.
So, I've got you this one, but it seems you have far too many. You say you checked these out, and they allowed that? This many grimoires?
Y- yes, I mean, it's not all at the same time. I would go grab a few, come back, kind of thumb through. It's like, this might not be the right one, but I'm going to hold it just in case. I was kind of looking at the table of contents, of thinking, oh, I might need to reference that back. So then I would come back and then I would check a few more out and then, would do the same thing. And so it's been over several hours of several days of several visits. Is there a limit?
Yes, normally 3 books per individual can only be checked out, and you have it's a brief count over 50 already.
Yes, but well, maybe that's why they haven't asked me. Each time that I go, I've taken 3. Because that's all that I can really kind of carry at the moment.
I will speak to a few of the others to perhaps cover for you.
What? Ooh, cover. What? Will I? What's the punishment for 50 books?
For this many? Usually a week or so in solitary.
With the books?
Yes, you are expected to spend a week one-on-one with a tutor. Cast all spells from the books that you have looked through.
Oh.
No, not all. Oh, no. No one can read all those books and are basically at the mercy of one of the instructors for a full week.
Well, that sounds exciting. Do you know how much I would learn? I'm a fast reader. Is it one of those special instructors that you told me about?
Zabaris nods. His face pale. Like, yeah, and it's just, no, not good.
Oh, well, you don't need to cover for me. That sounds amazing for my growth.
It is your funeral.
And she's gonna grab that book that he had brought.
The book is the tome that describes in full details the haste spell.
This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay, come. We're gonna round up a bunch of goats.
Goats.
Or whatever we can find. I'm thinking 20.
There's the... Are you wishing to buy them?
That's what it takes. Maybe I could borrow them for a little bit. I'll give them back, but if I have to buy them, we can buy them.
There would be a vendor who sells various odds and ends. And by odds and ends, I mean things like wolves, direwolves, various creatures used for experimentation in the Sanguine Academy. They're not cheap. Each one requires a filling out of a full form for a permit of ownership, and you're looking at a minimum of around about 25 to 50 silver per creature. As for livestock animals like goats, cows, sheep, no, there's none of them.
I think I'm not seeing what I was thinking, but this will do.
So which are you buying?
These wolf-looking things, maybe? They seem capable.
In the cage outside of the store, there are... I say cages. Multiple cages, each one roughly 6 foot long, 4 foot high, 4 foot wide, housing the form of a large direwolf. Some of them black fur, coupled with white fur, but These are giant hounds caught in the forests of Novostoya. In their cages, they sit there, frothing at the mouth, railing, trying to bite the iron bars to get free. Just...
And you really wish to... Well... Show funeral.
Well, how many do we have?
6 are currently available for sale.
I will take all 6 of them.
It comes to about 3 gold coin or 300 silver for these 6 direwolves, but in no time at all you sign the waiver and the contract, and after that the merchant clasps his hands together, offers a bow of the head, and you are now the proud owner of 6 caged direwolves.
And before she takes them out of the cage, because she's going to,
Uh-huh.
she's going to cast friends on them.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely, not a problem. Let me just check something very quickly. Their wisdom's not great. I'll say that it takes a little longer as you cast friends, but eventually all of the wolves sit down whilst looking at you. Roll me a animal handling check, please, Vanya. That's a good roll. Yeah, they're certainly friendly to you.
All that matters.
Friendly to you. Not controlled, but friendly to you.
She's going to, I think she has in her inventory some like silken rope.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to try to use that rope to kind of create leads with them. As best she can with what she has.
You step into the cage of each one. You tie this silk leash around their necks, and you close the door behind you, the cage behind you, right? I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's not any other ones in there,
No,
I don't see the point in her having to shut the door.
Roll me an insight check quickly.
I was like, did I break you? I did.
So, as you tie the noose around the neck of the first direwolf, you get the impression, or at least the feeling, that getting them out of the cage, yes, they're friendly to you, but there is a given chance of freedom. There's a reason these things are in cages at the moment.
Okay. All right. We need to rethink this. We need to keep them in their cages, but I need to move them to a big area. Are there any pasture type things, or maybe an open courtyard where there's not a lot of people?
Can you not just animate objects and lift the things and transport them?
I can, but that's a lot of work for me.
Fine, I'll speak with the vendor and see if we can get some. Where do you wish these to be delivered to?
Like a court. Is there a courtyard or like a pasture or? Didn't I remember seeing some kind of open area that we saw on our tour?
One of the testing grounds in the Arcanists Guild. Oh, you wish to experiment with these beasts?
A testing ground would be great. I was gonna do this out in the open, but
Yes, I had the impression that you were about to let loose 6 direwolves into the Sanguine Academy grounds, but no one's that stupid.
Yep.
Very well. I will speak with the store owner and get these delivered to the testing grounds of the Arcanists Guild.
With that, Zabaris steps into the store, and you see through the window him having a brief exchange, and Zabaris from his own pocket will pay for the transportation fee. It seems you're having a positive impact on him, Vanya.
That's good. I mean, he's not being too combative, so it's a win.
You make your way through the streets of the Sanguine Academy before eventually reaching the Arcanist Guild, and 20 or so minutes later behind you, you would see a couple of labourers riding what appears to be a mixture between, it's almost elephant in nature, but also muscular like a horse, with 2 heads that seem to be horses' heads with tusks that grow out of the mouth. Behind this giant creature is a train of cages on wheels. These cages containing the 6 direwolves that you've just purchased. And as they step through into this giant open testing ground in the Arcanist Guild, I imagine it almost like a small arena. High walls in a circular fashion, a gateway on both sides to allow creatures or experiments to proceed in, then with a ring of seats at the top for professors or the mages to observe. In a nutshell, it looks very similar to a gladiatorial arena, but is classed as a testing ground. But your 6 direwolves are brought in, the cages pushed off to the side of the circular testing area, and Zabaris and yourself are stood now looking at your new acquired wolves.
Release them.
Whilst I have every faith in your abilities, I will be, And
Zabaris points towards the observation gallery above.
I'll be up there.
Well, I guess I must do this on my own then.
Whilst I have every faith in your abilities of a magician, of a user of the arcane arts, a beast speaker you are not, Vanya.
Zabaris offers a half grin before quickly blinking out of existence and appearing 30 feet above in the observation stands as Zabaris casts Misty Step.
Well, Vanya is not going to let that get her down because she's got all hope and everything in her abilities. So she's going to to pull the book out and start looking for how she needs to cast the spell as she's like multitasking. So she's looking through the book and she's going and she's unlocking each cage door.
All right. You now know haste, having spent time looking through it, reading through, and so what does this all look like, Vanya?
Well, as she unlocks each cage and one of the dire wolves steps out, she mutters the incantation to them, and she'll say, "Quicken, wolf word," and it's like a zap, because it's like a zap of energy to them. She'll touch them, and with each wolf that she lets out, she's kind of practicing the spell and seeing what happens with it.
Do you let all the wolves out at the same time, or just one by one?
I think one by one.
The question I'm looking answered is: are all the wolves free to roam in this circular area at the same time?
Yes.
Cool.
And they all have haste on them.
All of the wolves seem to, as they exit their cages, skulk out before the effects of the haste spell overcome them, and then all of a sudden they just whiz out. One by one, these wolves dart out of each of their cages before 6 of them now in a perfect circle in the center of this observation, this testing area, all look at each other, lower their heads. Their gums begin to recede as they start growling, snarling at each other. Roll me an animal handling check, please, Vanya.
Oh, God.
It's going to quickly turn into a bloodbath.
You immediately understand. Well, luckily, they're still under the friends effect. So they're not looking at Vanya, they're looking at each other. And Vanya, you immediately get this either recollection or an understanding of, oh yeah, one of them's got to be the alpha. And it's at that moment of realization, these 6 wolves just howl and go at each other. The sound of snarling, of barking, of wolves just going mental echoes around the chamber as all 6 of them, hasted at that, just begin to whiz around, biting, clawing, throwing each other, just this... And you're stood just off near the cages watching this chaotic melee of dog-on-dog combat. They are so quick that it's sometimes difficult to keep your eye on them as they just whiz with the haste spell. And roll me a dexterity saving throw, please, Vanya.
Do I get advantage on dexterity saving throws? Don't I have something?
You're asking the wrong person.
I know. I need to be asking myself that.
I'm going to come back with the usual ho 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 ho.
Yeah,
I control the world. You have one thing to worry about.
I think it's Constitution that I have it
on. With an 18 though, there's a brief pause in the fighting as the 6 dogs stop. Did I say 6? I meant 5, as one of them is thrown in your direction, blood spurting out from its ripped out throat as it just crumples into the ground. You step to the side just in time as this viscera splats all across the wall, across the floor, and misses you, splatting across the spot you were in moments ago. But with that, 5 dire wolves remain, with one of them in the center, howling up to the ceiling of the chamber. And the remaining 4 bow their head. In the blink of an eye, these hasted dire wolves have just sorted out their pecking order.
She's going to take a book out and write down what just happened. And then she's gonna go up to the one that just became the alpha.
What's it look like?
She's gonna kind of start walking that way, but she's gonna make sure that there's no surprise because like they are kind of like on crack right now.
Absolutely.
And,
I mean, what's the alpha look like? I'm giving you the the chance to describe the alpha of this direwolf pack.
I want to say it's probably 3 times as big as the others,
Yep.
and
Roided up
obviously
wolf.
kind of covered in blood, and is foaming at the mouth basically right now, and but I want to say it's black with like a little bit of gray peppered into it, and
Okay.
it's an older wolf, but it's a very distinguished wolf.
Distinguished as blood pools from its mouth and it just howls up to the ceiling. What do you do, Vanya?
So as she's walking up, she kind of she prestidigitations herself like a waft of wind so that he can get a sense that she's coming towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And would he have been injured? So would the friends have worn
Absolutely.
off? Yeah.
Well, injured, but you weren't the one who injured it.
Okay.
So, whilst you're keeping friends up, concentrating on the spell, it wouldn't break because you weren't the one, or a friend of yours weren't the ones who hurt it. It was natural selection.
Perfect. So she's not going to be scared because I would think she would know that animals can sense fear. So she's just going to walk up to it and say, "You're loved for just being who you are, just for existing."
Yes, very inspiring, but...
And you see now Zabaris from the top of the observation ring looking down.
So, you've got yourselves a pack of direwolves. Congratulations. What now?
Well, isn't it obvious?
We euthanize them before your effects.
No. I know haste now.
Yes, direwolves hasted is... Could you make sure that they're not hasted for...
And Zabaris just points to the 5 wolves who have now started to make their way to the wall below Zabaris, looking up at him hungrily.
Oh, that has nothing to do with the haste.
Where are you going to keep these things?
What? I thought this is another experiment that we can do. I am going to get them back in their cages. Maybe we can get one big cage to put them in, and I'm going to try to send them through the portal thing.
Right. Of course.
Wait, I should have asked. Can't have animals come through the portal?
If you pay the toll for additionals, then of course.
I would like to keep one in my room. Oh no, they're a pact. I can't fit all of them. That would be... No, I will take them all with me.
Very well.
Round them up.
Zabaris just shakes it.
I'm sorry, Vanya, but there is no way am I stepping foot down there with those things. Hasted direwolves are no joke. It's on you to get them into their cages.
I'm starting to feel that this is not a
Good idea.
giving relationship between us. You you keep telling me no on things.
Yes, because if I step down there, your bloody dogs will carve me up and eat me for dinner.
That's you're probably right.
I
see the
am
logic.
definitely right. There is no probability about it. Look at him. Look at the big one. He's drooling while looking at me like some sort of roasted, veiled pheasant on a silver platter. I can see it in his eyes, in his beady black eyes.
He is making direct eye contact with you. I can confirm that. And she goes to try to move them back into their cages.
Animal handling check. Oh, for fuck's sake. Crit, yeah, alright, okay, fair. Begrudgingly, with friends still affecting their mental state, you begin to corral the remaining 5 direwolves back into their cages. One by one, you close the door, slot the giant pin into the lock. And there is a loud exhale of breath from the observation deck as Zabari says, "Oh, God."
I get a sense that it would probably be frowned upon if I kept these in my room.
Considering the fact that each one of those cages is 6 by 4 by 4 and is unable to fit through the door in the first place. Yes.
I was gonna keep them free in my room, not caged up like
Oh,
animals.
yes, of course. We'll just let dire wolves just stalk through the streets of the Sanguine Academy. What could go wrong? You are a funny individual, Vanya. Very funny.
Well, and I don't want to see them go to waste, because maybe I can continue to practice my my craft. So I shall bring them back to my place that's not here.
In that case, I will arrange them to be delivered to the teleportation portals and or the circles at least, and you can do the rest from there.
Yes. How about getting them bathed, maybe?
Zabaris just looks at you, laughs, points a finger.
Always the Joker. Funny.
And with that, he starts to walk away.
Vanya's like, one day he'll do what I'm asking to.
But yeah, for all intents and purposes, after half an hour or so, more labourers, not so much labourers, but servants of the Sanguine Academy turn up, pack the wolves onto one of the carriages that's towed by this elephant horse chimera hybrid, and they begin to take it towards one of the central teleportation areas. Basically, this seems to be a circular tower, quite an open interior that has a multitude of teleportation circles that lead to the various gates and keeps of Novostoya. The closest one to where you wish to be would obviously be the Obsidian Gate that leads into Coinflow, or the Carnelian Gate that leads into the Commons District.
Let's go Commons.
Okay. With the various direwolves, caged direwolves, loaded and unloaded onto the teleportation circle, along with yourself, Vanya, there is a brief white flicker in front of your eyes as the scenery begins to twist and contort what was once the teleportation circle of the Sanguine Academy now turns into a dark, damp underground chamber. In front of you is a large wooden double door. But apart from that, and a few torches scattered around the room, you are now stood in a room on your own with 5 cages of direwolves.
Well, she is at this point going to finally use this.
Okay.
If it will let me cast it. Levitate.
All right. Yeah.
So she's gonna levitate them, like kind of like get them where they're like all stacked up, kind of like in this nice tight square together, orderly, not chaos. And she'll open the door, and she is going to. She wouldn't be able to ride her broom and levitate at the same time, would she? Because of the concentration.
Correct.
Is that a concentration?
It's not so much that. It's. I mean, you would be able to as long as you didn't fly off. Levitate, you would have to stay close to the ground. Levitate's just off of the, slightly off the ground. Yeah. It's not a flying cage. But with the gates being open, you are met with the gateway into Market Row, and immediately with the 2 doors opening, you see 4 wardens arrayed in front of you. One of them turns to look at you.
Member of the Sanguine Academy. Holy fuck, what?
You hear the clatter of swords being drawn, of shields being raised as they see these 5 cages of direwolves.
Well, they're in cages. They're not gonna harm you. You have no fear today. You fear nothing.
Understood. May I inquire as to the reason you bring... You know what?
The wardens just sheathe their swords, turn away.
I don't want to know. Sanguine Academy business, I do not want to know. Okay. I saw nothing. I know nothing.
Giving you the opportunity to levitate these 5 cages of direwolves out. And you said it was near the Commons district that you were coming out, yeah? Mm-hmm. Which means for the next 20 or so minutes, you proceed to levitate these 5 direwolves through Market Row and lower streets. There is naught but screams of gasps of terror-stricken people who run away from this train of caged direwolves as you take it towards in the direction of the Baron's Folly.
And she's not letting none of it bother her.
As you get to the Baron's Folly, stood outside with crossed arms. Hang on. In the courtyard to the Folly, you just see with folded arms, a deep etched frown, Falco. A little birdie told. That. What? Wolves, Vanya! What am I doing? Yeah. Falco stares at disbelief as you approach the central courtyard of the Folly with these 5 direwolves in tow.
You know, Falco.
No, I don't know, which is why I'm asking.
Every step you take today brings you closer to tomorrow's success. There's always a reason.
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes perfect sense. Like, I have these wolves for a reason, I think.
Of course you did. All right. Just put them in the courtyard. I'll go and get the rest of the crew and... Falco slips, turns to head inside of the folly.
Wait, Falco, we might need to ask Garrett where we can keep them.
Yeah, that's my plan. That's my plan. Right.
Should I I'll go with you because he probably needs to understand.
I'll bring him out. You make sure no one gets close to the... Fuck, what the hell are those things anyway? Are those direwolves?
I believe that's what the merchant told me that they were. They also are hasted up.
All right. Of course they are. Falco steps in the folly. Vanya, you're left outside. 10 minutes pass. Down below the folly. For those who are gathered, you would just hear Falco open the door to the undercroft and shout down, "Anyone, I don't care who, Vanya's brought some fucking direwolves back and they're out in the courtyard. It's out of my pay grade." And the sound of a ba-doom, door slamming.
Did he just say dial?
Cypher thump a grimoire close to him and like, you know, I do believe he did.
That's not something you hear every day.
That's not a city animal.
It'll be good for the pit, though.
Well, I was
Don't
about...
Francis see it.
No.
Oh.
Or do, maybe. I don't know. But I was about to head to the pit anyways. To play with
Let's go
the
point
beetle.
and make fun. The what?
Right. What?
Fun? This is gonna cause me problems. At the very least, my ears are gonna get assaulted. Come on then.
So, Garrett, in the off chance that one of these direwolves is friendly, could I keep one?
Not you too.
Well,
Don't you think you have enough pets?
yes, but they're all dead. I want a live pet.
What happens when it dies?
It becomes my dead pet.
That's how I know you're dead.
Damn it. I fell right into that one.
I guess we'll trudge to the pit, see what the fuck's going on.
Is Dorian also involved with this, or are you staying well out of it?
Dorian is otherwise engaged.
All right. We'll get to you shortly, Dorian. I've not forgot about you.
No, it's all right.
So, I'm going to step back. This is... I've done my job. You trudge through the corridors of the Undercroft up to the Baron's Folly into the courtyard. And you see... Vanya, what do they see?
They're gonna see all of my wolves around me in the cages. And I have went to the kitchen and have grabbed some raw meat, and I'm feeding each one of them right now. But I start with the leader of the pack, of course. And I'm petting them too.
I'd love to know how you got meat away from Francis.
Roll me a sleight of hand check, Vanya. How did you how did you distract Francis?
She didn't. She just went in and like while he was like doing something, she just kind of, instead of trying to be stealthy or anything, she just goes in there and just swipes something like it's like she's just getting it for herself.
Okay. Vanya, Cypher, Reza, as you step into the kitchen, you just see Francis stood there scratching his head, mumbling about, "Oh, I'm really sorry I put some of my meat down there." Yeah.
Thank you, Francis.
Well. Back to the courtyard, though. Vanya's there, feeding the meat to the wolves. And you all come across this scene.
Care to explain?
Oh, Cypher, I didn't see you there. I was welcoming our new friends. My new friends. My new friends.
Is that what you've been doing for the past however many days? Making friends?
Yeah, more than these friends. But
Please don't say there's any more direwolves coming.
no, actually one died. It was very sad. A struggle of power and establishing dominance. It's an animal thing.
Right.
Okay.
Just one question to start. Why is there 5 direwolves in my courtyard?
What? I'm glad you asked. Because, well, I'm not going to go back that far, but I want you to just think. Powerful deterrent, early warning system, direct defense, hunting companions, transportation, resource gathering. They could be used, maybe even therapeutic uses. Therapeutic. I couldn't get that word out. Therapeutic. Comforting uses. But so the backstory is I was learning some new spells at the Sanguine Academy, and I wasn't going to test it on myself, not knowing the spells in the beginning. So I needed a couple of test subjects to do that, and I don't think any of the mages would have allowed me to do it. So I went on the hunt for animals, and they didn't have any goats. I didn't see any turtles or ducks or anything alive that I could use it on, but they did have, this was the first vendor that I went to. I didn't, I guess, really look beyond that because they had exactly what I needed. Wolves.
Did you not think maybe something smaller like a rat?
They don't have rats at the Sanguine Academy.
We
It's pretty
employ
clean.
a man that can summon rats at will.
But they weren't at the Sanguine Academy where I was, and I needed some test subjects.
So why aren't these at the academy?
And how did you get them here?
Oh, that's a lot of questions. Okay, I'm going to start with the first one. My room is very small at the academy. It would have been very tight to keep all of them in there. Through the portal, and then I levitated them to here.
Paul?
Like a magical outpost. I did-
Right.
Yeah, I went through it. With
Okay.
the wolves.
What portals?
It's just one. I just went through one, but there are several at the guard posts at certain locations that I have access to now. Apparently, they were there this entire time, and I journeyed all the way to the Sanguine Academy, and it took me a very, very long time to get there. If somebody would have just told me in the beginning that I could have taken those, but I made some friends, maybe even some enemies along the way, but it was kind of relaxing. I had a lot of self-reflection that went on in that journey.
I mean, if you show me to the portal, so I might help you with the wolves.
While this conversation's been happening, Reza's been kind of like at the cage of the smallest one.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of going like, "Who's your good little giant wolf? Who's your cute little giant wolf? Do you want Reza to be your mummy?"
Vanya's gonna hear that and she said, Reza, those are my wolves. I bought those wolves.
Listen, Vanya, I have tolerated a lot from you, but we do not experiment on animals. That is where we draw the line.
They weren't gonna get harmed on this. It's not like I'm trying to.
You said one of them
explode
died. You said one of them died.
That wasn't because of me. The alpha wolf killed it. It's nature. It happens.
Reza, roll me an animal handling check.
No, Reza made a cat, and hers.
Yeah, she
That's
made a cat with its whole purpose is to be smashed and broken. It looks
It's
like
not a real cat. These are real dire wolves.
Yeah, it looks like a real cat.
soul.
It's got a soul of a real cat, but it's not. Okay. This jacked up, hasted direwolf, the smallest, the runt of the pack, just happily seems to let you stroke it, caress it, and seems rather receptive to you.
It's a good direwolf. Yes, you are. Yes, you are a good direwolf.
Fucking crits.
Vanya makes a mental note that she's gonna talk to these wolves later, but she's knee deep in answering all these questions right now.
So where do you intend to keep these wolves of yours?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you, Garrett. I guess they could just all bunk up with me, or if depending upon what we feel that they could bring to the group, the presence of them could deter many threats, like both animals and others. They'd be an effective security system in certain areas that we don't have security. Think they have like keen senses. They can tell us in the event that danger is coming long before we would even know, right? We get them trained up, assist with hunting. Maybe we could get some better food for Francis. Pull things or locate sources if you let them smell it. I don't know. We could train them like a hound. Where are we keeping them? Yeah.
And Garrett just stands there in silence, arms folded, waiting for the question to be answered.
Vanya was hoping he would answer it. Well, logically, they can't be out in the public because they are not quite trained yet. And they only like me. And she looks at Reza.
The direwolf
that Reza has been interacting with is like resting its head in her hand through the cage, and she's stroking its ear with the other one, and it's like melting at her touch.
So maybe, we have a lot of room down below by my area. Maybe we could give them a place. Would she know, is there kind of like a stable type thing, or
You would know, and no, there isn't. You've never had any animals. There is no stable. I mean, granted, in the chambers far below the folly, where your hovel and Cypher's sanctum is, there's a lot of space down there for them to roam.
Yeah, that's where I was talking about, is down there.
Not a lot of game though.
No. Not a lot of food.
They'd been murdered by the kitties down there.
Or the coroner, who is currently residing down there for an unknown amount of time.
I mean, they could prove useful. We always need furs and meat. And they do have such lovely pelt.
No, Garrett, no. That's not their intended use.
What is their intended use? For you to throw spells at them?
I just did that once, and I may do it again if I feel that I need to. But did you not hear me talk about a powerful deterrent, an early warning system, hunting companions? I gave you a list of.
We have a deterrent and an early warning system. We knew you were coming before you got to the courtyard, because half the town saw you coming.
And I've been a hunter for 700 years. Never have I needed a dog.
Yes, the dogs are really only helpful when you're doing like bird hunting and you need them to retrieve the bodies. Otherwise, they just scare the game.
Okay, well, I need emotional support and to reduce stress.
Reza pulls out a pastry and hands it to her.
No.
I'm sorry, what?
No.
No.
That is what my wolves are for. Now, where can they stay? If I have to, I will take them to the Sisterhood. I have plenty of room down there.
Reza starts feeding the pastries to the wolf that she's bonding with. Gentle Harvey.
Actually,
Bear
that's
with me a second.
probably what I'll do, Garrett, because Rez is getting too close to my wolves, and they might need to stay away.
Oh, fuck.
I might
Oh.
to the Sisterhood.
Oh, what? What?
Garrett's a druid.
What? Oh no, I didn't expect this. Garrett?
And Garrett starts making sounds. It sounds like a wolf communicating with another wolf. And I address the alpha.
Hmm.
And it's like, would you be happy living underground, never seeing the sky, not hunting your own food?
That sounds like threat. No. Captured, taken from forest I was. Granted strength by the one in yellow.
And you see, it's still under the effects of haste spell as it whirls around.
Mhm.
Wish to hunt. Much meat, game to be found in this place of stone and lights.
If I can release you back into the forest, you must not hunt for the game that walks on two legs, like me, like my people. Anything else in the forest is fair game.
You wishes to be protectors of the two-legged uprights.
The two-legged uprights made you more powerful, better hunters.
Roll me a persuasion check, Garrett. Fuck's sake, this is where you get direwolves as protectors for the fucking logging camp.
You know this.
Son of a bitch.
Shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Strong. I am. Rest of pack weak. But I make them better. Teach them to hunt. For freedom. Yes, we not hunt two-legged prey, but protect. If you offer words true.
Can a wolf speak untrue to another wolf?
The rest of you would just see the alpha wolf lower down, growl deeply at Garrett before the growls subside.
Very well, I accept.
Then you shall have your freedom. It will take some time to transport you out of the city. So bear with me.
Wolf,
It will be done.
not bear. Foolish
So
two-legged
poor choice.
being.
The one in yellow may wish to come and see you from time to time. Make you strong.
The breaker of chains, of bars. We owe gratitude to the one in yellow.
Then we have a pact.
Vanya, you would see the wolf look towards you, the alpha, offer a brief nod. It's still growling, throbbing at the mouth. But for you, Garrett, you would understand that, you know, it's motioning to Vanya as a slight show of appreciation to Vanya.
She's just gonna give her a wicked sisterhood smile to it.
Okay. So, I'll turn back. The wolves will be released back into the forest.
What?
They will be free to hunt. They will not hunt people. Our people will not hunt them. You may visit with them whenever you wish.
But they're still my wolves.
They have some gratitude to you, so you will be welcome with them.
I knew you wouldn't let me keep them in my room.
A wolf is made to run, to hunt, to be a lord of the land. To keep them underground in rooms would be an unkindness to them.
I would have taken them out and they would go with me to places.
The
But you're
wolf is a
right.
hunter. They never stop moving.
They need room. And they're gonna get tired of the rats. They need other things.
But now we have an ally in the woods.
So I did good?
Unbelievably, it has turned out okay. But next time, maybe it's something smaller. A bunny rabbit, maybe.
Listen, I work with what I have access to. Next time if I have the option to choose something very, very large and something small, think of you when I make that decision.
Your lucky wolves have a sense of honor. I doubt I could make that pact with many animals. And you know what the alternative is. And I just make the finger across the throat gesture.
But you, to me, to them,
The animal.
is that a threat for me bringing in here?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Vanya thinks about her sisterhood right now, and then just kind of shuts her mouth.
So, you're going to have to get these to the forest now.
Oh, it's not a problem. She casts levitate again and starts headed out to the city.
Wait. Put some covers over them. Let's not scare the other half of the city with floating direwolves.
But floating sheets won't do it either.
If you can't see what's under a sheet, you won't be scared by it.
I'll go grab some sheets, and she's gonna go to like the closest rooms to grab sheets off of beds.
Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to take this brief moment to say, first of all, Orcskull, thank you, Manu, 15 months. We've been at this a while. Thank you for that resub, man. I appreciate it. I hope your charity event's going well. And secondly, Cacophony's already caught onto it, but ELH, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to our corner of Twitch. Vanya, our resident unhinged hag, has just brought 5 direwolves into the city, and Garrett, were you bouncing in your chair at this?
Well, there wasn't many options there. I'm going to be put in a fighting pit, made into clothing. Or employed.
The chance to use speak with animals. I'm like, what?
I've got the inherent ability from being a druid.
Well played. So yeah, with that, Vanya, you step inside the folly. You spend a few moments grabbing various linen covers, bed sheets. Step out, throw them over the various cages. Cypher, Reza, is anything you two wish to do whilst this has all been going on?
No, Cypher's just watched the whole thing unfold and it's like, this is stupid. And he goes back inside.
Reza is just kind of like saying goodbye to the wolf she bonded with. It's like, I'll come visit you, don't you worry, but you're going to have a free, wonderful life in the woods. Isn't that exciting?
The direwolf just howls, lets out a loud bark at you, Reza, as Vanya, with the now covered cages, begins to levitate them through the streets of Novostoya in the direction of Malmstown to set them free. Anything you wish to add as a closer for this, Vanya?
No, I think that was pretty good. I don't know what more I could add to that.
Excellent. All right. So with that then, Dorian,
Yes.
what have you been up to since returning from visiting the fam?
Well, there's the matter of. Sorry, one sec.
It's all right.
Sorry, no, I had to cough. So, the first thing that Dorian is doing after getting all this done is he's taking the documents he has and he is going to the Merchant Guild and presenting it as evidence that he is now to have all the holdings. And so basically, it's just trying to get the legal footing and everything to have everything.
So, first things first. With you returning to the Folly, having visited the family, speaking to the wardens, I believe you said you were going to have a kip and then take this the next day. Is that right?
Yeah.
On your return trip through Lower Streets into Market Row, there seems to be, stepping through the gates into the Coinflow district, on the Coinflow side of the Obsidian Gate, there seems to be a couple of new additions to the decor of the gate. Hanging along with several other criminals are the forms of your sister and the guard, stripped apart from a piece of cloth covering their lower regions, but hooks pierced through their backs and arms as they are suspended above the gates. Not dead. Just mewling and moaning in agony as they are left. Several of the wardens are gathered around the gates. Odd warden would cast a glance up, tell them to shut up, wretched scum. And as you pass through the Obsidian Gate into Coinflow, Dorian, you'd probably at least hear the odd cry from them towards you. Whether you pay them any mind, though.
Oh, he doesn't. He really doesn't. Just continuing along.
Continuing through. But, with that said, you step into Coinflow District.
Yes.
It seems that construction's still been going ahead. A multitude of serfs from the Merchant Guild have been trying to clean up the streets. There's several construction crews out now patching up the last few bits of damage that at least have occurred on the main stretch through Coinflow. You imagine the side streets that were damaged by the Doctori attack have still been left. A lot of what the Merchant Guild did is more for keeping up appearances at the moment for those who have the funds, but you press through the streets before reaching the central large towering building of the Merchant Guild's headquarters.
Well, he's going to go in the front door, unless it's barred for some reason, and try to find a clerk.
Okay. Stepping stepping through the large gilded doors of the Merchant Guild into the central hall, there's counters that seem to line both walls, and the thing that would immediately garner your attention would be an individual in a rather ostentatious green cloak and robe, slicked back hair that's also been dyed green, along with a beard, ranting and raving at the counter. Well, I'm completely sanctioned. She should be sanctioned. Vile, wretched beast in yellow, pushing her way. As you make your way down the central hall, you will see this guy has a black eye, to the point where one of his eyelids is swollen so much that his eye is closed. He seems to be talking with a bit of a lisp, with a split lip. Beaten.
So he's just doing his thing there.
Yeah. It's just basically ranting and railing. Beaten, I was beaten by your gods. I think there's compensation due. But you swerve around this, heading towards one of the open kiosks, and you are met with the familiar sight of a yellow-robed Merchant Guild clerk.
He's going to take the paper out and set it down on the table. There's been a death in the family. I need to have the rights for the holdings and for the Van Hestwood estate transferred.
Hestwood, understood. If I could have the paperwork, please. Thank you. Let me give me a few moments to check this over, and I'm sure we can get all this squared away. Master?
It's Charlton Van Hestwood. You can call me Dorian for short.
Master Dorian, my condolences on the death of a close family member. The clerk begins to look over it, the documents provided, and slowly nods. Everything seems to be in order. A full inheritance of... that also includes accounts. Understood. A moment of your time, if I may.
Of course.
The clerk steps away. Initially for 5 minutes, but then returns with somewhat weary expression. Apologies, Master Heswood, this may take a little longer. There are quite a few accounts, multiple ledgers with finances that we need to go over. Could I offer you a refreshment at all while you wait?
Oh, of course. And take your time. It's good to see that everything's done correctly. Shame about what happened, though. I'm sure that a beverage would help quell my woe.
You are led into a side room where almost a butler-looking servant offers you drinks and stands by your side for roughly 2 hours. Any demands that you make are immediately seen to. And after the 2 hours pass, eventually the Merchant Guild official steps back into the room. Excuse me. A a huge stack of parchment and tomes in his hand as he makes his way in, puts them on the table in front of you, and then sits on a chair opposite you, Dorian.
Apologies for the delay, Master Dorian. There were quite a few contracts that we needed to fish out, old ones at that. Were
begins to sift through the paperwork. Various deeds, financial ledgers, along with details of accounts with the Merchant Guild from the Hesswood family. And you know what? I'm gonna let you be the since this is your family, Dorian. What do you own, or what does the family own in terms of finances, businesses?
Well, the thing is that the family isn't like one of the biggest merchant families there by any means. It's just they do a bit of shipping and trading. So there's a single ship that they have to be able to move things in and out. They have a warehouse at the Karstein docks. And of course they have the actual house. And basically they just have contracts for shipping and receiving with all the people in the Coinflow district, using what little they have. There might be a couple of wagons and things like that they have there, but obviously the horses are not there because well, goddamn, those things are very rare. So it's just basically, it's a moderate amount of coin flowing to and from, and basically in perpetuity to take care of the whole thing. So it's nothing like dazzling. It's just...
But it's still a sizable amount of both coin and the fact that there is a manor, a warehouse, and perhaps more importantly, a seaworthy vessel, a ship at your disposal.
Yep. By no means a warship or anything like that, but it's more like a what's the word, frigate?
Yeah, a merchant galleon is probably the best way of putting it. It's ideal. I would say it's still a relatively large vessel, mostly used for moving cargo. There's perhaps a couple of ballista on it, but it can certainly move a profitable amount of product.
Yes, so that also gives them the ability to move things from like like the bloodworks just further in the city without having to do the go through the streets. So that's basically all there is a boat, a manor, a warehouse. It's a little bit tough at times than it had been in the past, owing in in some part to Charlton's former life basically ruining some relations. Irony.
So with the various deeds laid out in front of you, though, the official begins to slowly nod.
I believe that is everything. The vessel, the deed to the warehouse, the holdings that we currently have here at the Merchant Guild, and of course the manor. Of course, if there are any other items that were not declared to the Merchant Guild within the manor's premises, you will have to declare them to us when available.
Oh, of course, of course. And thank you very much for your time. These are very precarious. It's a very precarious time, and your assistance is appreciated, making it go smoothly. And he's going to nod to the clerk, and he's just going to make his way out past the guy who looks like a parakeet, sputtering about how he's been beaten and bruised.
I demand that bitch be sentenced and strung up by the gates. Wretched whore.
So he doesn't have he's not saying any names or anything. So
No,
Dorian
it
has no idea
doesn't,
who
yeah,
it is.
doesn't know any names.
He's just gonna continue past, and he's gonna go towards the manor actually,
Okay.
and just see what's going on with it. Because there were wardens there. He's anticipating there might be a corpse still in a chair.
All right. Let me get rid of that. Because the servants, not really necessary. Making your way through Coinflow, Dorian, you eventually reach the outer gate to the Hestwood estate. By this point, there is a single warden propped at the gate. Not so much looking in a lazy manner, but as most wardens just stood there guarding. Bored? Absolutely. But not jeopardizing their given task by any means.
So Dorian will approach, and has the investigation concluded?
The warden will look towards you, and again, typical warden fashion, you can't really make out much details behind the helmet, but you just hear the voice. Apologies, but public are to be moved away from these premises.
The public? Oh, well, it was my father that was murdered there, but I suppose I should give some more time.
Wait. You knew of the deceased?
Well, I was there. He signed his, I had informed him of my deeds in the lower streets and with the court, and he had a change of heart, and it cost him his life.
I don't care about the details. Head on inside. The investigator will no doubt want a word with you. With that, the warden nods his helmet back towards the gate.
Yeah, he'll head in then.
As you step through the grounds, all of the lanterns have been doused, with the exception of a few by the door as you step into the estate. Through the main door, you see at the far end and just to the left, the room that your father was brutally murdered by your sister also has a lantern lit, and making your way down, you see no signs of servants. But in the room itself, a somewhat distinguished gentleman in a straight black robe. No markings, no signs of office, with the exception of a thin gold chain with a sigil of the Crimson Court dangling from it. Who is actually sat on the opposite side of your father's desk, a journal in hand, scribbling several notes, and at the sound of footsteps, he looks up over his shoulder towards you. Good day. Inquire as to why you were permitted entrance into this scene, good sir.
Well, that there, and he's going to point over towards the other end side of the desk, is my late father.
The younger sibling of the Hestwood estate, yes?
Yes.
Marvelous. Questions must be asked. Good. And if I may inquire, according to the report I gained from several of the wardens at the gate and that of the Merchant Guild, you were privy to the murder.
That's correct.
He begins to narrow his eyes slightly at you, Dorian. Almost in an accusing manner. As he begins to look over you, his eyes slowly settle on the Houseful Pescu pin. I see. A terrible shame of what occurred. Your sister murdering your father in front of your very eyes, I believe, yes?
I didn't know she had it in her. But the outrage at being deprived of everything that she thought was hers apparently was too much.
Roll me a deception check, please, Dorian.
Ba, ba, ba.
Oh. Okay, bear with me. Oh, I hate the new Foundry thing where I can't click on all of the fucking things. A somewhat skeptical nod rings out from the investigator. Well, regardless of what happened here, I do believe the perpetrators, your sister and the guard, have been strung up, offered capital punishment by the gates, and that's where they shall remain until they are naught but carrion. I hope this process, this punishment, is suitable for the crimes committed here.
Well, it is not my job to make those decisions. I'll trust the wardens.
Normally...
After all, they did see the guard chase me into the street and try to murder me when I was unarmed.
Well, normally, the issues such as this wouldn't be within my wheelhouse, but, well, when you get a report that the aspiring governor from outside of the city, along with a loyal servant of House Vulpescu, is put in harm's way, then I am dragged out to these sorts of affairs. So, Master Hestwood, is there anything... And he slides the journal over the table in your direction. Is there anything in here that you saw that you wish to be recorded?
He will look it over.
It's a... basically almost a full cover. The crimes that have been noted on here are completely made up. It seems to be that there are ties to the Doctore, to the recent attack on the Commons District by the masked individuals that tie into funds. It's bullshit. This entire journal is bullshit, but it seems to paint you in a glowing light. And a multitude of eyewitness reports from the guards at the gate, with several familiar names,
Yeah.
seem to suggest that you were given a very unpleasant disservice by the merchant guard as well. You get the impression that the investigator is completely aware of exactly what happened, but with the fact that the wardens were involved and took justice into their own hands in the Coinflow district, as a box-ticking exercise, he was basically called in. But he's here just fabricating bullshit.
So this is just for appearances.
This is purely just for appearances.
No, I think everything is there, and more that I wasn't even aware of.
Good. Now, I will be taking up further residence in this establishment for a further day. Of course, one needs to make sure all evidence is accounted for. I hope that won't inconvenience you too much. Even if it does, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. Due process and all.
There's a ever so slight sly smirk on the left side of his mouth as he nods at you. Things are rather dreary sometimes, and, well... I found a... and he points towards a bottle on the table. There are a few things that have and will be confiscated as evidence in this case. Again, I do hope you understand.
Dorian's going to walk up to the desk, and he's pointing towards the bottle. He's just going to slide it closer to the inspector. Of course, that's your purview, yes? So... And he's going to just... The body is still there in the chair.
Of course it is, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Roll me an insight check. Not that you probably need it, but just roll me a quick insight check. It seems very much that this inspector has been given a free pass for a few days, and he is making the most of it.
Like a mini vacation?
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's going to look at the bottle like, well, if you need anything from the servants, let them know. And I imagine that where it's not going to be used, you could probably take up lodging in the master bedroom for now.
Investigations like this are and can be somewhat thorough, so your hospitality is greatly appreciated, and I will make sure I pass it on in the report for the rest of the investigation team. Should anything ever occur again, you understand.
Oh, yes. It's like, he's going to look at the body. Do you want me to have arranged to have my dear father seen to? I'm not familiar with the procedures.
Depends. If you wish to inter him into the Garden of the Dead, a merchant of his stature may be able to warrant it, then please, by all means. It saves us transporting it to less favorable outcomes.
If that is my intention, I'll pursue that. And... He's just going to look around the room. And... I'll contact someone about that. I would appreciate if you could let the wardens involved know that someone may be coming by for that purpose. Don't need to have a porter for that end up on the wrong side of their gaze.
The man nods before extending a hand towards you. Christophe Lariva, Inspector, the court intelligence.
He'll take his hand and shake it gently, you know, being careful not to, like, wrench his arm or anything like that to upset him.
Should you require anything, I believe an individual such as yourself, well, whispers of your involvement in recent events on the behests of our fair lady. Whilst most are unaware, we of the intelligence division are familiar. So, if you have any other issues that require a more clandestine approach, we would be more than happy to investigate that for you. If you understand what I am putting down.
Oh, I understand.
Young upstart of the Valpescu household.
I understand quite well, and I'll tell the staff to make sure that you're seen to.
Christoph offers a nod. And then turns back to the body, motions the quill pen in its direction. Terrible way to go. Slain by your own daughter. Terribly unfortunate.
Dorian's not going to comment. He's going to walk out and just when he sees somebody who he recognizes as staff, make sure the inspector's seen to and any of his men that are with him.
The serving girl who you met before offers a brief nod. The muttering of "Yes, master" on her lips as she scurries off into the study to tend to the inspector's needs.
All right. And with that, Dorian will depart back towards Lower Streets.
Okay. Hold while I add another named character.
As you do.
As you do.
The court's KGB.
Welcome to Nova Stoya. Boom. There we go. Alright.
Christophe LaRousse. Yep.
With that then, and a member in the, an acquaintance in the investigative side of the Wardens, you make your way back through Coinflow, Lower Streets, and back towards home.
He's going to pull his hat down and just completely ignore the people at the gate who might be shouting, because they probably will be.
Yeah. On the way back, you will also notice now, being able to see a full view of the gate, there is also a couple of the merchant guard hung from the gates.
Oh boy. That's probably the ones that were like, no, we have jurisdiction here. No, you do not.
No. Yes.
All right.
New adornments to the gate. Well, yeah, with that, you make your way back to the Folly. Anything anybody else wishes to do for the downtime? Because it's been an action-packed downtime. A lot's been done. In fact, I dare say.
Thing.
Yep, go on, Marissa.
What were you going to say? You dare say what?
There needs to be a going to ask Dorian, are you going to let the rest of the crew know that you've now got a warehouse, a manor, and a boat at your disposal?
Shortly.
Okay, so we'll come back. We'll return to that afterwards. Reza, to you.
Well, after the direwolf situation, Reza says to Garrett and Cypher, and I can't remember if Vanya's still there or not. But she says, you know, while the Shadowed Circle is closed for the day, I kind of wanted to test out the beetle.
The what?
The beetle. And she reaches into her bag of holding and pulls out.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh-loo-loo. Oh, I guess it's more of a fly than a beetle. I was calling it a beetle, but it's this little fellow.
Hold on a minute. I shall go and get my measuring tapes. I need some exact measurements of this thing.
And Solution, I'm kind of timing this so that the long rest happens
Of
after
course, yeah.
the experiment to see how big it is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. As I said, anything that requires time in Bob, during the downtime doesn't count because it's all for the sake of RP and world building. So
she she goes back inside the folly down into the shadowed circle and hops down into the fighting pit. Because this is probably the best place to see how big a giant fly is in a controlled area. And since Garrett has speak with animals up anyway, why not? Am I right? It's an animal when it's that big.
I can cast it again. It's inherent.
Sure.
We are torn a line with what's an animal. No. Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was just checking something out. But absolutely. Let's go for it. So down in, is this after? Is Vanya here for this, or is this while she's taking the wolves to the forest?
She would be out taking the wolves to the forest.
Yeah.
So, Garrett, Reza, Cypher, you are below the Baron's Folly in the shadowed circle with the pit. Reza, on the edge of the pit with this small ebony fly statue. What do you do?
So, seeing as it has to be activated with magic, she casts Mage Hand.
Okay.
And then has the Mage Hand pick up the ebony fly and toss it into the center of the ring. And I think that would meet the conditions to make it.
It would indeed. As the fly sails through the air, all of a sudden you hear what sounds to be breaking glass as this small statuette begins to shatter in midair, and from out of it, this giant, bulbous, black bottle housefly just bursts into existence. Wind gushes out from the pit as its wings begin to beat furiously, and a low but pretty loud drone echoes in the area as in front of you, hovering just above the pit by about 5 or 6 feet, is a giant black fly, easily the size of 2 horses.
Is it Does it seem to be waiting for instructions?
It is. It's just currently hovering midair.
So Reza takes a look at it and says, would you mind landing, please, so we can inspect your personage?
With a thud, the fly drops to the center of the pit.
Thank you so much. And she kind of like, I imagine it's got like the fly head that's like all the eyes and whatnot.
Yeah, it's genuinely disgusting. It's a giant black housefly.
So she kind of approaches the face end and like she can not see her reflection reflected against its hundreds of eyes, but she like strokes the mandible.
Yeah.
Like, good fly. Do you have a name?
It's just its head just seems to tilt, not slowly. There's no slow movement to it. It's jerking left and right as its head just begins to try and look at you. The mandibles and the feeding tube from its mouth just flicker out.
All right. Cypher, do you want to name it?
What could you possibly name a giant fly?
Well, I don't know. And then she kind of like slowly starts walking around it with her hand still on it, looking for a way to climb up onto its back because it can be ridden as a mount.
There are... it's a fly, so it's quite hairy in some parts that would allow you to just grip onto it and hoist yourself up onto its back.
So she does that. So she's now sitting on top of the fly. That's the giant fly that is standing in the middle
Of the pit.
of the fighting pit in the shadow circle.
Yeah.
And she just keeps kind of patting it like, good fly, good fly.
She just buzzes.
How about Malcolm?
Malcolm?
Yes, Malcolm.
Do you like that? Shall your name be Malcolm?
Buzz. He just buzzes its wings.
1 buzz for yes, 2 for no. See if that works.
Holy shit.
With a minus.
We're
on
negative
it.
4! Oh my god.
It's got an intelligence score of 2.
It's a fly.
It just buzzes.
I think he likes it.
No. Buzz. Buzz.
At this point, Garrett comes out with his measuring tapes and a little notebook. Starts measuring how big this thing is. Let's see if it responds to commands. Extend your wings.
Its wings extend.
Marvellous. So I see how big they are. I've noted it all down in my little book.
I'm not going to give exact measurements at the minute because I'm going to be honest with you. I've not done any research into how large this thing should be.
Big enough for a ride.
But
That's great because I don't have to remember them.
Exactly. So yeah, it's roughly the size of 2 horses. You know, that the body mass is 2 horses slammed together. So it's chunky. It's a big fly. More than enough strength for it to carry a carriage.
That's all I need to know.
But yeah, it's big. It's big.
Marvelous. That's everything I need, Reza. So do with it as you will.
Right. Well, seeing as how we've let
Begins
it out
to
inside.
lick its arm, wipe its eye, lick its other arm, and it begins to wipe its eyes.
All right, Malcolm. Do you want to pop back into that ebony figurine, please, dear?
It tilts its head up to the side slightly, questioningly. It doesn't have a clue what you're saying to it.
Ah.
There is a chance you have a fly in the pit for the next 12 hours.
Oh dear.
Well, that worked really well, Teresa. Yes, well done. Bravo.
Can I get him out the doors?
No. It's too big to go through the doors. Yeah, nowhere do I see it being able to. Let's have a look.
For up to 12 hours.
Understands your language, obeys your commands, and takes its turn. Blah blah blah. The creature exists for a duration specific to each figurine. At the end of the duration, the creature reverts to its figurine form. It reverts to a figurine form early if the creature's form drops to 0 HP, or if you take a magic action while touching the creature to make it revert to a figurine form.
Okay, so Reza looks at it and looks at her hand, and
Yep. Reach out.
Cat puts her hand on its back, casts Chill Touch.
What happens
Cantrip.
to it? What happens to it?
Forgetting she was sitting on it, she drops to the center of the rig. And next to her is the ebony figurine.
There we go. Just yes,
That seems to have worked.
Yes, well done.
Is this what happens when I give you some time off? Everyone turns into idiots.
Beg your pardon, what I just did was very helpful.
Yes. Did you not think to dismount before making it disappear?
I don't see how that's relevant.
You got a stain on your trousers.
What?
You landed in flying discharge.
Oh. Well.
I mean, it makes sense.
She casts Prestidigitation to clean up her pants, accidentally causing the fly to release again.
Malcolm just returns, stood there, just looks around for a moment, buzzes its wings.
Oh, for fuck's sake. And she puts a hand on its leg and gets Chill Touch again.
There's a tinkle of what sounds like glass on wood as the statue shrinks back down to its original form, clatters against the pit.
She picks it up, puts it back in her bag of holding, and just stalks to the bar. And says, it's Alistair, right?
Yes, yeah.
Alistair, my usual, please.
Shaking his head, Alistair just... yes, of course, pint of the finest red.
Yes, thank you, dear.
As he begins to to pour bear with me. Yeah, as he begins to pour a glass of liquid, he looks up towards you, a slight playful smirk at the corner of his mouth. I've got a joke for you as well, if you're interested, Miss Teresa.
She narrows her eyes as she looks at him. She says, "Try me."
He leans in, whispers in your ear, "Why don't vampires bother with houseflies?"
Why?
Because it bugs them. He finishes pouring the drink.
She picks up the glass and tosses it in his face "Oh, sorry. My bad." Sets it back down. "Could you top me off, please?"
Deserved. Mom. Pours another one, slides it over the table and begins to wipe his face down.
She takes her glass of wine and goes to their usual booth and slinks into the corner, where Munchie magically appears and crawls onto her lap so she can pet him.
How very amusing this all was.
And, any chance I, could wrestle? Fly. Seems interesting. Awkward. Fun.
Sat at the corner, looking up from his book, is Scarn as he's just watched this whole charade with the giant fly. Tongue flicks out from his mouth as he licks a couple of his teeth.
I mean, if he hurts it, it will go back into its statue form.
Been a long time since I fought something that flies.
What do you think?
Sure, why not?
I'm genuinely interested.
So, to put this...
What could possibly go wrong?
To play out the scene as background noise whilst you all congregate to discuss the day. Probably Vanya returns with it being close to the end of the downtime. Dorian, no doubt you would also return. The background noise, apart from Alistair cleaning some of the glasses and prepping for tomorrow night's opening of the fighting pit, there would just be this scene behind you all of Skarn grabbing this giant fly by the legs, swinging it round in a circle, launching it off into the wall. He jumps out of the pit, grabs it, throws it back in the pit, rinse and repeat. Just being gingerly enough with it not to smash it back to its statue form. But yeah, there's the stools and tables around the pit. By the end of this conversation, will be just scattered everywhere as Skarn's been having a whale of a time, just flinging this fly around, leaping up, grabbing it by its thorax or by its antennae and just dragging it into the pit. You know, for the entire conversation in the back, you just,
Yeah. Where are you flying to? Come back. I am not done with you yet.
but yeah,
And since Malcolm obeys commands, so he comes back to Skyrim.
yeah. It almost, you get the impression that it's almost like a child playing with a basketball in the pit. But that gives you all a chance to, over the next, over the span of the hour or so, for Vanya, Dorian to return, giving you all a chance to catch up after the week and plan what's to come. From my end of things, obviously the Masquerade Ball by Countess Vulpescu is on the horizon. That's a week or two out by this, probably a week, just over, before you're invited to that. So yeah, with the 5 of you now sat around the table, Munchie on Reza's lap. Catch-up time.
So I take it everyone's finished their little tasks that they had.
I hired a beggar.
Marvellous. To do what?
To beg outside our front door. Apparently, we're a bit of an attraction for the moderately well-to-do to kick it in the slums. So I'm just adding some atmosphere.
Our own artisan beggar. Bespoke for our needs.
Yes, exactly. 15 copper a day, and I told him he could either sleep on the streets if he wanted to, or have a room in the bunkhouse.
You've clearly been spending far too much time with Vanya.
And I authorised, I hope you're okay with these, Garrett, I authorised Falco to hire himself an assistant.
What's that supposed to mean, Cypher?
Giving opportunities, Vanya. Opportunities.
Well, opportunities breed hope and change. Sometimes they need a little push.
With respect to Falco's assistant, a great idea. Hopefully you'll find someone with better handwriting.
You might want to mention that to him so he can make sure they read and write.
I didn't think I'd have to, but now you've brought it up. Yes.
Well, for my part, I've come into possession of a house, a warehouse, and a boat.
Oh, and how did you manage that?
Oh, inheritance.
Condolences?
Inheritance, yes. Father passed away. Have it in writing that I get everything. You know how it works.
Is
The
it not
details
the
are
custom
important.
for the firstborn child?
You might think so, but when you have it in writing and the firstborn child decides that that's unacceptable and decides to kick up a fuss and may perhaps stab the old man.
Fair enough. Sounds like a domestic issue anyway.
Yes, it's a ugly affair, but Once the investigator is satisfied with their fact-checking and details, the house will be there for use if needed in coin flow, and of course there's the boat pushing goods up and down the rivers, and I think it will be able to sustain itself, just going about business as usual.
Well, either of them could be potential locations to have our the Bloodworks send us regular shipments, Garrett.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere to store the bloodshot as well. Because
Yes.
I've been wondering how to deal with that, because I don't think the nobles would like something that comes from the slums.
No. Also, you can barely walk through the throne room these days.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that if bloodshot was stored there and the ship largely was distributing bloodshot, then chances are the finances would be pretty well off at that point.
Oh, yes. Finances aren't a problem. We now own a lumber mill.
And direwolves.
Yes. The lumber mill is protected by direwolves.
Quite a thing. Well,
Well, I've put the word out that anybody who needs work should come here.
Well, anyone that looks strong enough to swing an axe, go to the lumber mill. Because I believe there's some remodeling to be done in the city.
Oh, speaking of that, there were some nasty rumours going around about Dirktown and what happened there, and there seemed to be some sort of concern as to our involvement and if we were really their protectors or not. So I took steps to correct that.
Is it something I should be worried about?
Well, I'll check back in another few days and see what the rumour mill is saying, and if it hasn't corrected to my version of events that we were protecting everyone from a plague outbreak, then I shall let you know.
Marvellous. Cypher, how's our house guest getting along?
I've been avoiding him.
Understood. Although I would like to try and keep him happy. As
Yes, I'll go speak with him shortly.
Good.
Well,
Now, this leads me on to something else. Vanya.
yes.
I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Of course I will.
You are in possession of some crystals that lets you explore dream and memory.
Yes. I've had these for a while now.
I need to explore something from my past.
you know, it lets me see it as well, right?
It's fine. I need a pattern for a teleport circle. It might
Well,
be important that the coroner sees it too.
you know, I am well on my way to being able to spend a week and having one-on-one time with a mage instructor. But I mean, we can do the dream crystals if they don't work out. You know, I think if I just get a couple more books or notify somebody of my book collection, I might be able to have that one-on-one time.
What do you need for this crystal thing?
Well, you put me on the spot there. Let's see.
Yes, Vanya, what do you need for these dream crystals?
My God, it's been like a year and a half since I've gotten them. Let me see if they're in my inventory.
More than enough time to think on how you could use them.
Well, I mean, I know, like, we're all gonna have to, they're not in my inventory, are they, Solution?
I will add them in. Bear with me.
Okay. Well, it's gonna take some prep work for me, Garrett. I personally like for us to all be in the same room while it's happening. Kind of gathered around.
That's fine.
There you go.
The phone room will suffice.
They're in your inventory.
Gotcha, Solution. But if you give me a couple of days, I will make sure to figure out what we need to be able to
What I
sorry,
suggest is
my mouse moved.
we all get involved. You could practice looking through it, everyone's, and when we can pinpoint a certain place, we can travel into my memories and find the information we need.
Yes, and you know we'll be traveling through other memories to get to your memories as well. We just need to make sure that everyone that is doing this understands we're going to see things.
Yes. Have any of you seen the Feywild before?
Only in my imagination.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
I've heard some stories, but they were more like children's stories from my father.
Thing with children's stories, sometimes they're true.
Why did that feel ominous? Did you mean to that to sound ominous, Garrett? You meant for it to sound ominous. All right.
Depends on what stories you heard. And the atmosphere just seems to go down by a couple of degrees. I assume everyone is interested in exploring each other's path.
I have nothing to hide. Who knows what we might find along the way?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Dorian looks a little bit. I don't think you want that.
I do recommend that if you're wanting to go back in a specific time to make your targeting more powerful, maybe an item that may bring you to that specific point in time in your dream. Maybe good.
Maybe we do mine first, because I have less history to explore than everybody else's.
And you're gonna need to fully give yourself to me and not fight me penetrating your dreams.
For fuck's sake.
I object to the use of the word penetrating there, Vanya.
Navigating your dreams.
Better, thank you.
And you can do this on your own?
Yes. Yes.
And what are the dangers of going into the realm of dreams?
Well, could get stuck. I would never do this, but I could inflict some nightmares, maybe some cross contamination into some dreams. But I'm going to be very focused.
Roll me a quick Arcana check, Vanya. A brief memory, perhaps, of a conversation with the nurse also springs to mind, that sometimes dreams might not always be dreams. Dreams are still a power, and power can manifest things. So sometimes, with the right conditions, or perhaps the, should I say, wrong conditions, perhaps dreams or nightmares could even manifest in the material plane. Whether you wish to share that, that's on you.
So, does anyone here, do they have nightmares?
No.
Do you have things that you don't want to unleash into this world in your dreams?
Why? What do you mean?
Whether negatively or positively, in the event that sometimes these dreams have powers and you can manifest things into reality. whether it be truly something that happened in your past, or if it's a nightmare. You know, you might surprise direwolf, you know, because you're having a nightmare about it. Why you would? They're soft and cuddly, but I was using that as an example. So basically, I'm just saying you need to be careful of where you take us.
Interesting.
Fine, it's just a different plane of existence. I have every faith in you.
I'm just the risks so that you are not shocked by anything that comes out of it. You have been informed.
It'll be fine. Just think positive thought.
Oh, I definitely will be into your dreams.
I mean, I'm willing to go after Cypher. I mean, the most terrifying thing I've been through is being turned into a vampire in the city below, so that can't be that scary. I'm sure there are no horrible creatures who could seep out into the world from that.
No pressure, Bunyan.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming you'll probably see glimpses of me at the academy. For mine, when we go down mine, there can't. Oh, yeah, we'll just think positive thoughts, right, Garrett? Think positive thoughts.
Make
Dorian?
the preparation.
Hmm.
If you need advice from your instructor, take it.
Is that you being nervous? It sounds like you're being nervous, but I will go see her before I do this. Just one last check on my checklist to make sure, because I sense a little tension. I sense a little fear now. I feel it. Now I'm getting nervous.
It'll be fine. At the very least, we'll have a greater insight of one another. If everything goes to plan, you may see the Fey world in the flesh. And for once, Garrett's actually got a big, beaming smile on his face.
Anything further anyone wishes to put forth at this little meeting? No? Okay.
No.
So, with that and everyone going quiet for but a brief moment, apart from the grunting and laughter of Skarn throwing this giant fly around the room behind you, the only thing that would break this scene would be what can only be described as a high-pitched squeal of absolute fear from Alistair behind the counter. And as you all turn around to look at Alistair, he's pointing towards the door of the Undercroft. With the door wide open, there stood is the coroner. Let's find out what happens next week on Pariahs.
Bye, Chad.
Goodbye, chap.
Bye, chat.
See you next time on Pariahs. And the day before, then the Commonwealth. Tune in.
Alright. I'm going to flick over to that. Turn on that. Mute you lot up. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone, for episode 22 of Pariahs. The last downtime session-ish before we the long rest that the party have so desperately wanted for a while. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that and the coroner turning up next week. With that said, though, Orkskull, thank you for those 50-month resub. I appreciate it. Rayvon, thank you for the 100 bitties. Initiativa, thank you for the follow. Jumplax, thank you for the 52-month resub. And last but not least, ELH, thank you for the raid. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed today's session. We've got episode 2 of the Bobblehead Bonanza on Saturday, 8 PM GMT, which is our brief Fallout campaign. And then Sunday, we've got episode 23 of Pariahs. So, yeah. Fun and games, as always. Fun things. Yeah, I dare say with that, though, let's bring that down. Bring this up. And we'll try and find someone to raid. So, who is currently streaming? Yeah, I know we're gonna let's go raid Guild Superior. See what they're all up to. So yeah, with that, everyone, once again, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully I'll see you next weekend for more TTRPG bullshit. With that, enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy your week, and yeah, we'll see you all very soon. Ta-ta for now.